For over 75 years, Planned Parenthood has served Nebraska. It began in 1935 when Mrs. Mary Offutt and Mrs. Carol Sibrinson formed the Maternal Health League of Nebraska. The first family planning clinic was held each Friday at the parish house of Trinity Cathedral.
In 1935, the leaders of the community got together, courageous women who were really the pillars of the community, and they had been hearing and talking about the importance of family planning and birth control. The movement was catching on throughout America, and in 1935 they sat down and said they're going to develop services for the women of Nebraska.
In the early days, there were a group of women that I greatly admired who stepped up and were the beginning of Planned Parenthood. And I thought they were really pioneers, because in that day that was really maybe not the most popular thing they could be involved in.
The women said anytime that they signed off on any of the letters of incorporation, they always made sure there were 4 signatures so that if they went to jail, they'd have a 4th for bridge.
That same year, Nurse Esther Earhart was hired. Paid $2 per day, she is the Maternal Health League's first employee and later goes on to serve nearly 40 years at Planned Parenthood. In 1947, the Maternal Health League became the Planned Parenthood Committee of Nebraska, serving over 2,500 patients and beginning its core mission. In 1962, Planned Parenthood began offering the birth control pill to married women.
You know, when I got married, it was available, and I can't imagine life without it, because we planned and spaced children and chose to have them when we did, and that was through birth control.
Planned Parenthood expanded rapidly in the mid-60s, nearly doubling patients served because of the demand for birth control. Yet women still had no access to safe and legal abortion care.
We were sending women out of Nebraska through a underground network of people to go to California and New York. And I was at the University of Nebraska Medical Center at the time, and it became apparent to me and to the chairman of the department that the women of Nebraska should probably have the same rights and access to the same services as the women in New York and California should have.
On January 22, 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court rules in Roe v. Wade, extending constitutional protections to a woman's right to choose. The historic 7-2 decision nullifies laws limiting abortion in 45 states, including Nebraska. It also gives women the control over their own personal medical decisions.
It encompasses what to me are the basic rights that men and women in this country and around the world should have, and that is the right to make personal decisions, the right to be given accurate information, and the right to be able to plan and make decisions about the very personal aspects of our life.
The individual woman is the key. I have not met a woman who does not want to have the best for her child, and I think that you must have faith in that, and the faith in their ability within their environment to make the appropriate decision. And until you live in that environment, until you walk in her shoes, you're ignorant in trying to make the right decision. She can make that.
With safe and legal abortion care available to the women of Nebraska, Planned Parenthood set about updating its clinics by having Charlton Heston host a fundraiser. Over $30,000 was raised to relocate the offices and clinics of Planned Parenthood in Nebraska. Roe v. Wade also meant that Planned Parenthood needed to adjust its mission to protect the reproductive health care rights of women and families.
The recognition that political advocacy needed to be done, I think very much was recognized here in Nebraska and the Heartland.
Quality reproductive health care services, family planning services, education, factual education, and the opportunity to really learn about the issues, and the opportunity to get involved in advocacy and in legislative issues, not only at the state and local level, but at the national and international level.
Throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Planned Parenthood continued to advocate for the right to access reproductive health care, but it never lost sight of its core mission, education and health services.
I came to Planned Parenthood when I was actually 14 years old. To me, Planned Parenthood was like a household name for me and my friends. You know, it was like, hey, you got some trouble, trouble, I mean, even if it was just someone to talk to, we went to Planned Parenthood, you know, and then it was in the neighborhood. So that was also a good thing. It was always one accessible for you to get to. We went and everybody was really nice. I got a physical and they gave me the talks, the pamphlets that I needed. And then after that, I just kept going back.
In 2002, Planned Parenthood of Omaha and Council Bluffs and Planned Parenthood of Lincoln merged to form Planned Parenthood of Nebraska and Council Bluffs, expanding its mission of education.
It has been really one of the few, sometimes only source of affordable and quality reproductive health care for people. But it also provides an educational component that no one else does.
Raising a family as well, that was another, I think, big go-to moment for me. I have 4 daughters, my husband and I have 4 daughters, and I started hearing what they were coming home and telling me that the school was teaching them, or in most cases not teaching them. And I thought, wow, I need to be a part of this change.
If Planned Parenthood hadn't had a presence in this community for all these years, the bar would be much lower in terms of education and providing individuals, women in particular, with the information and the services they need to lead quality lives.
In September 2009, Planned Parenthood of Nebraska and Council Bluffs merged with Planned Parenthood of Greater Iowa, forming Planned Parenthood of the Heartland.
Planned Parenthood of the Heartland is a very old organization and a very new organization at the same time. We're old because Planned Parenthood's been providing care since 1935. And we're new because the Planned Parenthood in Iowa and Planned Parenthood in Nebraska joined forces and became Planned Parenthood of the Heartland just a little over a year ago.
Well, the wonderful thing is for 75 years, Planned Parenthood in Nebraska has been an essential provider to women and families. Now partnering with your colleagues in Iowa and building this strong Planned Parenthood of the Heartland, it's going to provide enormous opportunities to expand education, services, and make a difference in the lives of all people of Nebraska.
Remember some of the things we've said here. They need to have the fire in their belly, they need to continue the mission, and they need to have the leadership to continue that onward. And if they do that, good things will happen.